Great. So welcome. This is the first roundtable discussion with the industry leader that the Venture Capital and Private Equity Club at UCLA has hosted this year. The goal of these events is to educate the broader UCLA community about venture capital and private equity. And we're actually really excited. We have a really great guest today, Joe Rubin. He's the co-founder and director of FundingPost.com. FundingPost is the largest venture exchange in the country. They represent VCs and angel investors with over $105 billion of capital. Joe's responsible for FundingPost's operations, and he runs the largest annual online business plan competition, pitching across America. And he spends a lot of his time coaching and mentoring early stage companies. And over the past 5 years, he's invested in 11 seed deals. So we're really excited about having Joe here with us today.
Well, thanks.
And I guess with that, I'll hand it off to you for a little bit of an intro.
Okay. Actually, that was a really good intro. I run conferences additionally. That's one thing you left out. I run conferences in 19 different cities across the U.S., putting entrepreneurs and investors together, really educating the entrepreneurial community on what investors are looking for, the types of deals they like to see, how they like to be approached. And it's just a great opportunity for the local community to get involved and talk with these VCs and angel investors. And
Great.
that's it.
Fantastic. So I guess one of the first questions that we can start with, kind of a broader, more macro level question, just looking at the current environment, what's your forecast for early stage VC funding over the near future?
Just perfect. Just no, it's a little rough. It's a little rough out there. The economy is tight on everyone. Every industry is being hit, including the venture and entrepreneurial industries. You're seeing a few different things happening. The VCs have tightened up a little bit, so trying to raise capital is a lot tougher for an early stage entrepreneur. They're putting out less money, they're doing less investments, and this has been happening sort of significantly over the past year. It's up a little bit this year, which is good. So from last year, it's definitely up in 2010, but still pretty low. The other thing that you're seeing in the venture side is sort of a few funds are sort of disappearing. They kind of ran through their life cycle of raising capital in the dot-com boom, and now those funds, which are 10-year funds, are now wrapping up, and it's very tough for the fundraisers of venture funds as well. So entrepreneurs are having a tough time raising capital, but the VCs are also having a tough time raising capital for their next fund. So some of the funds that were out there are no longer in existence. Yeah, it sounds like a bleak outlook, but companies are still getting funded. We're still seeing deals happening all the time. Very few IPOs, very few exits, but some acquisitions are building up as well this year. So hopefully we're going to see sort of this, a couple of acquisitions will loosen up some capital. The investors will get a return. Hopefully things will be going better.
Great, fantastic. I mean, we definitely hope so. So,
Me too.
So I guess another question we have kind of at the university level is, what we've seen is the financial crisis has created enormous opportunity for entrepreneurs who have solutions, and especially tech-based solutions for risk analytics and that type of thing for financial institutions. The problem is, these guys, they're not on Wall Street. They can't just pick up the phone and call Jamie Dimon or Joe Ackerman and say, hey Jamie, we have a great product for JP Morgan.
Right.
So, what advice would you give to these entrepreneurs and researchers and innovators who are coming up with financial products or innovations that these financial institutions can use? How can they get in touch with investors who can provide more than just capital, but kind of a strategic advantage?
Well, it's good that you actually said that, because that's something we always advise, is to not just take money, although take it if you can get it, but if it has some sort of strategic advantage, a Rolodex behind it of people who understand the industry that you're trying to get into, it's totally a lot better. It's an opportunity for you to take advantage of their knowledge, their expertise, and their contacts. So that being said, how do these small companies actually get some customers and traction? Sure. You have to you're bootstrapping it. You need a solid product. You need something that, and you mentioned earlier, it's a rough economy, right? So you need something that helps the economy. You need something. There's definitely opportunities in things that have businesses save time, that have businesses save money. So anytime you can get a product where you're saying, all right, listen, we're going to cut your cost down significantly, we're going to cut the time down significantly, businesses are open to looking at that. One of the mistakes that people make is they have a product, nobody's using it, it's not fully tested, not fully done, and they're out there raising capital, you know. I always try to advise people that really just get as far along as you can before you start raising capital. If you can do it on your own dime, if you can get something built, there's always ways to get some technology built, even if it's not the final solution, the perfect product that's going to be on the shelf, so to speak. Get out there, get people to just start using it. Smaller companies, if you can't get into Merrill Lynch, well, you probably can't get into Merrill Lynch, but if you can't get into a large financial institution, get into something really small. You have somebody just start testing this, using this, and if you can start making a couple of dollars on it, just selling it even at a discount, just to get some revenue in the door, get some people, validating your product, you're so much better off than just trying to raise $3 million to get it out there on a big scale.
Sure. Interesting, very interesting. So Taj is one of the top science students at UCLA, and I think he has a great question for you.
Mr. Rubin, I wanted to ask you a question regarding actually pertaining to life sciences and applied sciences.
Okay.
So a lot of times in research universities, kids engage in research from the first day they get in, and they, by the time they graduate, they come up with their thesis paper, and a lot of times these are actual products, coming from our bioengineering program.
Sure.
So, for example, we've all suffered from strep throat or sore throats and, actual bacterial infections everywhere, that causes the common cold or from the virus in this aspect. Now, usually, you have to culture that bacteria to figure out what kind of strain it is. And what these students did is that they actually, made a microchip where you could take that little sample, a smear, and put it on the chip, and they could tell you within 7 to 10 minutes exactly what kind of strain it is. Now, from a academic setting, it's very hard for the students at undergraduate level, because of their limited resources, to actually test it on a very broad level. You can't really, you don't have the resources to test it on thousands and thousands of strains. But from my perspective, it actually does seem pretty like a legitimate product.
Sure.
So what advice would you give to students that have a solid idea and a solid product, but really haven't proven it to the academic community, to actually maybe approach VCs in the near future?
There are a lot of solid ideas out there and solid products out there. Most of them fail because of things like management, market. There needs to be usually a business around a product. So what I recommend is one that's an incredibly cool product. So if that works, that's just terrific. It saves hospitals time. It saves all sorts of delivery charges. You can get instant results instead of 7 to 10 days to find out if you have strep throat. So I guess it's significantly changing in the industry. However, going after someone that's too big for you, too late for you, you're not going to get published in a magazine until things are really proven out. FDA approvals take a lot of time, trials. So you need to really go along the appropriate steps. I would suggest a few things. One, talk with angel investors who are in that field. So there are several angel groups like Silicon Ventures, Life Science Ventures, Mass Medical Angels. There's a bunch of people who are doctors, scientists that are well versed in this, and they understand. Some of them have successfully sold companies. So use them as sort of that reference. I was talking a little while about smarter money as opposed to just checks. Use them as a resource. Get them on board. Get them on your advisory board. See what they can do and steer you in the right direction. There are also conferences out there specifically geared towards medical devices or life sciences. Attend those as well. Meet peers. You don't have to give away everything that you do and tell everyone what you're doing, but just to learn, especially as a student, get out there and just sort of make some contacts, meet some people, and understand how the process works.
That's great.
Great, fantastic. So Venkat, I think you have a question.
Yeah, so I just met Mayank through the Business Council. We have a new initiative on campus where all the business organizations are coming together. I represent an organization called Bryn Consulting. So thank you so much for both of you coming here.
Sure.
Before I start, I actually want to hear your background as well.
Sure.